Niall, you back?
Which service do you require?
I'd like to report a break-in. It's hard to say, but a manuscript's definitely missing. A book manuscript.
Milk, nappies, a fresh muslin. I've put a wash on and sterilised some bottles.
Brilliant, thank you.
Me and Sykes have got this parenting business covered, haven't we, fella?
You make a great house husband. Both of you.
It's a double, isn't it, Sykesy? So what about you? What are you up to today?
What's today? Today is yummy monkey yoga, followed by make and shake.
And what about for Betty?
Oh, a house husband and a very funny man. How lucky am I?
Well, if you need a hand with the yoga, I'm good at the deep breathing.
Snoring, I think you'll find it's called.
Ah. What do you want, Nelson?
One guess. The victim is Susie Colebrook, artist and book illustrator. She reported a break-in at 8:42 this morning. Said she'd been out all night and arrived back to find the cottage ransacked. Said the manuscript of a book had gone missing.
On both sides, burn marks. Looks like she died from a massive electrical shock. Probably stopped her heart instantly.
Electrocuted how?
There's a mechanism inside that roulette wheel.
Who even knows how to make something like that? Prints?
Just Still checking. There's some on the box that it came in, but they probably belong to the postman and the victim. Whoever did this wasn't even here.
A remote murder. No danger of being seen.
The postmark is Midsomer.
Sarge?
And there's a note. To Susie from Maggie. Whatever you do, don't touch the spinner. Why give a warning?
Well, more to the point, why ignore it?
Reverse psychology. Someone tells you not to do something, you immediately want to do it. Clever. Next of kin?
Husband, Niall. He runs a small printing press from the premises.
And where is he now?
On his boat. He's been informed and he's on his way back.
Susie Colebrook clearly illustrated Jed Dagger novels.
Who?
Jed Dagger, gambling detective. The sleuthing hero of a series of novels set in the 60s, written by George Somersby.
Maybe we could pick up a few tips.
Now, Dagger was good, but not that good.
Anyone had a look? A lot of wood in them. So.
When Mrs. Colebrook reported the burglary, did she say where she'd been all night?
No.
Parked on a double, Luxton Deeping High Street, 7:50.
Dagger would have been proud.
I'm sorry, sir, you can't.
What do you mean I can't go in there?
I appreciate that.
I
I'm sorry,
live
sir. No,
here.
I'm sorry
Mr.
about
Colebrook,
Yes.
DCI Barnaby. We're terribly sorry about what's happened to your wife, but we need to ask you a few questions. Is there somewhere we can talk? When did you last see your wife?
Yesterday morning before I went to the marina. I keep a boat up at Pandlefoot Bailey.
Do you have any idea why someone might want to take her life?
No. Of course not.
I have to ask, your wife was out all night. Do you by any chance know where?
Susie did her thing, I did mine.
Who's Maggie?
Maggie Markham, a friend. She runs the crime festival that's going on at the moment.
The Luxton Deeping Crime Festival, where crime plays.
Sir?
The new Dagger novel?
Well, soon to be our latest publication.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't George Somersby die?
3 years ago. Everyone knew he was working on a book when he died. Susie found it.
A manuscript?
Clearing out the attic. Susie was George's executor. All his papers came here after he died.
Clearly you don't normally publish detective novels. The new Dagger novel, quite a coup, I imagine.
Holy grail round here.
Do you have a copy of the manuscript?
Susie wouldn't let me near it. She was going to launch it at the festival. Law unto herself when it came to George.
Mr. Colebrook, your house was burgled this morning before Susie was killed. She reported that a manuscript had gone missing.
I can't have. But without the manuscript, we can't publish. I can't tell you how important this is. You have to find it.
More importantly, Mr. Colebrook, we have to find your wife's killer. Get uniformed to take a full statement and check Mrs. Colebrook's life insurance. See if her husband benefits from her death. Just because he wasn't here, it doesn't mean he didn't send the package.
Okay. What about you?
I'm going to speak to Maggie Markham.
Thanks, love. How's the Q&A going in there?
Could be full of it, mustn't grumble.
At least we're sold out for the celebration of Dad's new book.
Absolutely. If only a couple more long-lost Somersby novels would turn up, eh?
We wish.
What's going on down at Susie and Niles?
Not sure.
Whatever it is, I hope they're not going to be blocking the road all day. Flyers for Susie's art exhibition. Be a doll and hand them out after the event, yeah?
In case you hadn't noticed, we are a bit busy, Vincent.
Yeah. Makes a change.
Hey, don't let him wind you up.
I'm trying.
Of course, absolutely right. I get my inspiration from the extraordinary and the everyday.
Silas, your books are fascinating. How do you create such amazing characters?
Oh, I work out my characters along the principles of what I like to call rich. Realism, intention, character, and heroism.
Certainly rich coming from him. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to ask...
Thank you.
Hi. There you go. Not fancy Silas Raven's Q&A then, Mum?
I'd rather stick pins in my eyes. That creep wouldn't know plot if it was fired into his skull with a staple gun.
Sitting on the fence as usual, I see.
You know me.
Can I help you? Hi. Can I have a cappuccino? Are you, by any chance, coming to the big event for Dad's book?
I don't think so. I don't think it would be appropriate, really, do you?
Can't we just move on?
Easier said than done, darling. Best go, or she'll pipe up.
Leaving so soon, Jeannie?
Not so keen on the company.
Oh, really? And there's me thinking you and Bella were getting on so much better now.
Sorry, we've got an event going on at the minute. Do you have a ticket?
Will this do?
How can we help? Bella Summersby.
George Summersby's daughter.
Yes, I own the shop with my husband, Rob. How can we help?
I need to have a word with Maggie Markham.
Of course. Follow me.
Building on the classics, but transcending.
Do me a favour. Your central character's a billionaire by day and a werewolf by night.
He's conflicted.
There's no dagger, though, is he?
Oh, here we go. The Gospel according to Curtis Brailsford.
Okay, Curtis, thank you. And Silas, thank you so very much. That was an excellent talk. And don't forget our climactic event, the celebration of the new Summersby crime novel and the memoir of his equally gifted brother, Nick.
Stop trying to market me already.
Maggie, someone to see you.
Mr. Rattigan.
DCI Barnaby.
Is there a problem?
Did you send a parcel to Susie Colebrook?
No. Why?
A parcel with your name on it was delivered to her earlier today. And I'm afraid she's been murdered.
Everything all right?
Looks to me like the wood on the window broke out rather than in. That's odd, isn't it?
Like to talk to forensics. DIY has never been my strong point.
As your lodger, I can definitely vouch for that.
We can't all be domestic goddesses like you.
You ever read any of these?
No. Horror's more my thing.
When a casino owner's daughter goes missing, Dagger unearths a secret mystery. When two people are electrocuted...
About George Summersby's new novel. You should know that the Colebrook's house has also been burgled and the manuscript stolen.
But we need it. It's the climax of the festival. Everything Maggie's worked towards.
Nick, finding Susie's killer is more important.
And locating the manuscript may lead us to that person. You have any idea who might want it?
The whole village.
Curtis was desperate to read it.
Any book at random in the shop.
And Miles Rattigan wanted to publish it, but lost out to the Colbrooks.
They're just gonna...
What about anyone with a grudge against Susie?
My brother's widow, Jeannie. There were rumors years ago about him and Susie.
2 packages.
Identical?
Yes, identical.
Well, we sent one to Susie Colebrook.
Yeah, I know about that one. I need the address of the other one.
As George's widow, doesn't Mrs. Summersby stand to gain financially from publication?
No. George changed his will before he died. He made his daughter sole beneficiary of his estate. Jeannie doesn't see a penny.
Sir,
Excuse me.
the roulette wheels are from the first Dagger novel. It features a double murder. There were 2 identical packages sent yesterday from Midsomer sorting office.
Where was the second one sent to?
Somewhere in Midsomer Mere. They're sending me the address.
We need to warn them. Get a phone number.
I'm on it. Excuse me.
Modern.
The address has a Cecily Peterson registered as the occupier, but she doesn't have a landline. We're checking to see if she's got a mobile.
Contact the local police and get them over there immediately. We're on our way, but we need your officers there now.
Now listen here, you. Just because you're gallivanting around the countryside doesn't mean you can fob me off with presents.
I'm looking for your aunt. It's about a book she ordered.
She's in the garden.
Thanks.
You took your time?
I came as quickly as I could. Look, can you not text me like that from the cafe?
I needed to find out that you were receiving me.
Loud and clear. I just don't have your money at the moment. I need more time.
How much more time? I'm not going to live forever.
Oh, I'm sorry, but the book trade is difficult at the best of times and everything's crazy at the moment.
That is a shame. Maybe I should talk to Bella then.
No. I don't want her to know.
I don't see why. Her father approved. Couldn't get enough of it, old George. No, the other way. Other way. How fitting. She's married to someone with the same problem.
Please. Bella has nothing to do with it.
She is, if she's in the money. New book coming out, I gather?
In theory, look, I will get you your money. I promise.
How? Unless... Why don't we do it all again? I'm free tonight if you are. Oh, fine, if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. Let's do it.
Bring some friends round if you want. Let's make a night of it.
Okay, thanks. Sorting office confirmed the package was delivered this morning, but said there's no way of tracing who sent it.
And come round for the burn marks?
Identical murders in two villages 30 miles apart.
Echoing the plot of a Dagger novel.
There has to be a link between the two victims. Who knew both of them? What's the common denominator?
Do you think it's in the book?
I'll have to check. Could just be a Dagger fan trying to show off. Check out Curtis Brailsford, Mr. Dagger, by all accounts.
Will do.
What do we know about this victim?
Not a lot. Cecily Peterson moved to Midsomer 4 years ago. Kept herself pretty much to herself. Doesn't seem to have worked since coming here.
Find out what she did before she came.
Ran a vintage clothing shop in London. I contacted the Met.
Friends in low places. Very good. Kate.
Deja vu or what? Absolutely identical MO to the other one. Same booby trap, same everything.
Same ink as the first one. Would the murderer need expert knowledge to rig up a thing like that?
According to forensics, it's something you could figure out from the internet. And the ink is from typewriter ribbon.
Different messages, of course. To Cecily from me.
Whoever me is.
Someone she trusted implicitly, as Susie did Maggie, so that they would open the package not suspecting a thing, which means that our murderer is close enough to his or her victims to know who they trust. Get a copy of that photo.
Sir. Can you archive that, please?
Nelson?
She knew the book then.
And bought Susie Colebrook's artwork. Every artist has a dealer. Find out which gallery sold it.
I want more money. I want a bigger cut.
40% is standard, and it's what I agreed with Susie.
Susie's dead. It's up to me now.
I have a contract, and her exhibition opens tonight.
Gentlemen, what seems to be the problem?
Niall has chosen today, of all days, to try to negotiate a contract for the artwork.
Well, perhaps I can help.
How could you help?
Well, I'm interested in buying, but I can't stand the uncertainty of sealed bids. We could always cut out the middleman, couldn't we? What do you say, Niall?
That you are everything I hate about the publishing industry. Why would I deal with you?
Because you're skint. I'll buy the whole lot. Outright. Every last piece. And the publishing rights, if you want.
I have to think of the future. I've lost Susie now.
Oh, do me a favour, you didn't care about Susie.
You did. But there are ways of getting that money without dealing with either of you two vultures.
What did he mean by that? He can't have the manuscript, can he?
D.S. Nelson. Is one of you Mr. Treeborn, by any chance?
See you at the opening.
This is about Susie. Terrible news. It's a great loss. She was a very talented artist. Yeah, we're all absolutely devastated.
So much so that you're going ahead with the opening anyway, even though she's just been killed.
Oh, Susie would be fine about it. All artists want immortality, Sergeant. They're not going to let something as trivial as death get in the way.
You've just tripled the reserve prices.
Yeah. Market forces.
When did you last see Mrs. Colebrook?
A few days ago, can't remember.
That's strange, that, because she got a parking ticket on the high street last night. That's just here, isn't it?
Lots of places she could have been visiting along here.
That's what I thought. So I checked with the hotel manager across the road. He confirms there was a woman answering Susie's description in here when he was closing up.
So? If you must know, we spent the night hanging the exhibition.
All night?
Yes. She left just after 8 in the morning.
Why didn't you say that then?
Because if her husband so much as knew she was here, he'd get paranoid. He hasn't trusted Susie since the rumours about George Somersby, and quite frankly, I could do without the grief. Is that all, Sergeant?
Not quite. Do you have a customer? Cecily Peterson? A friend of Susie's, maybe?
It doesn't ring any bells? No, sorry.
She has one of Susie's artworks in her house. The cover illustration of a book, The Wheels of Justice.
Wow. That's George's first novel. A real collector's item, that. Is she thinking of selling?
I don't think so, no.
Mrs. Somersby, DCI Barnaby. I need to ask you a few questions about Susie Colebrook. Who lives in the annex?
Nick and Maggie. George bought this place with the proceeds from the early Dagger novels, and he gave that part of the house to his brother.
How did your husband die?
Boating accident. Typical George. He should have just stayed put. This is where he used to work, but he'd get stir-crazy after a while. And when he'd finished a book, he'd take himself off somewhere. The boat was his last such indulgence, sadly. So, Susie.
Were you close?
We got by.
Did you think it odd that your husband chose Susie as executor of his estate?
Not really. They'd known each other for years. They did work together. George and his cartoonist.
I gather you're against publication of this new manuscript.
The manuscript. What manuscript? Who's to say the manuscript's even genuine?
Don't you think it is?
I know that I went through every item of George's estate before I had to pass it on. I'm not stupid. There was no manuscript in there. I think they faked it.
What are we going to do?
Keep calm and carry on. We've got a festival to launch and we act like everything is fine. Come on. Make yourself useful while we're here. Get signing.
I sign prescriptions, not books.
Not this week.
How do you remain so cool?
Talent is all about handling pressure. That's what we used to say in publishing.
What did you say when you lost manuscripts?
It never happened. Why don't we leaflet the village? Offer up a reward. Could add to the excitement.
It's worth a try, I guess.
Does the name Cecily Peterson mean anything to you?
No.
Did George write on a computer?
Never. George was old school. Cigars, typewriter, the occasional vodka shift. He tried writing standing up for a while, like Hemingway, but he kept keeling over. I think that was the vodka.
What sort of typewriter?
Vintage, 1953. I bought it for him one anniversary.
And where is that typewriter now?
I have no idea. Some of his stuff went to Bella, some to Susie.
Even anniversary gifts?
I'm not sentimental.
The manuscript won't have gone far. If only Susie had put it in a safe.
Maybe we should cancel the event.
No way. If there's no manuscript, you can stand in. You were going to be reading extracts anyway. You can make them from your book instead. You're a Somersby.
I'm not the Somersby.
You are to me.
Is he?
You bet.
Dr. Summersby, you helped your brother with the medical research for his books, I hear.
If you can call it help, I lobbed the odd idea in.
Nonsense. He was the power behind the throne.
Yeah, right.
Death by roulette wheel, for example.
Yes, the Wheels of Justice, if I recall. His first and best.
What about information on other subjects, the gambling, the 60s? Did George research them?
Oh, absolutely. Meticulous was George. It's all in the memoir. Here, take a copy.
Ah,
on the house.
Thank you.
Nick will sign one for you if you're lucky.
Wrote this with my fans in mind.
Maggie's going to leaflet the village and offer a reward for the recovery of the manuscript.
Good. Because at the moment there's over 100 people turning up and no book to unveil.
Well, we could always cancel and refund people's money if we have to.
We can't afford to do that. I don't know. Maybe we should think about auctioning some of your dad's memorabilia to raise money.
Do what?
Just, you know, make more of an event of it.
Rob, we're a bookshop, not an auction room.
I know.
And we're not hawking my father's belongings, thank you. I can't believe you'd even think of that.
I'm sorry. Forget I said anything.
Bella? I couldn't help noticing that you've put Cry Wolf in crime.
Yes.
Yes, but seeing as it's a genre buster that straddles two genres, I was thinking perhaps it could go into horror as well.
If you insist.
And maybe put it on the front table as well, so that people can see it when they come in. Name?
Laura. And seeing as there's a werewolf in it, perhaps you'd like me to put it in folklore as well.
Great.
Thank you. And maybe even humour.
I was sorry to hear about your father's manuscript disappearing.
How did you know about that?
News travels. I could always do a reading of Cry Wolf if you need a replacement.
Find anything in the books?
Nope. A lot of murders in casinos, usually motivated by greed. Talking of greed, Susie Colebrook's art dealer just tripled the reserve prices of her work.
So he benefits from her death?
As does Niall Colebrook, who gets his wife's life insurance and whose business is struggling.
But his best chance of making money is from the successful publication of the new book. And Susie was pivotal to that.
Agreed.
So killing her doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Am I interrupting something?
Susie Colebrook's and Cecily Peterson's phone records.
Do they share any numbers?
Well, not that I can see. Cecily Peterson did, however, ring a pay-as-you-go number just before she died, but we don't know whose it was. And she had a car.
Doesn't exactly narrow it down.
Except the car wasn't at her house, and it's not in any of the local garages we checked. A taxi firm reported dropping her home this morning. So where is it?
You've clearly been busy, Nelson.
Thank you.
Which is why you won't have spotted these two identical numbers here and here.
Oh, that is so annoying. So, the person they both knew is... Bella Summersby.
everything is fine. Of course the new book's going to turn up. Somebody's just whipping up some hype.
Who told you anyway?
And yes, of course, tomorrow's event is going ahead.
We need to speak to Bella Summersby. She's hosting a meet and eat with Miles Rattigan.
I'll grab her.
Did you check on Curtis Brailsford?
Yeah, he comes and visits his Aunt Audrey here from time to time. He's a data analyst for a security firm.
Have a word with him.
So your uncle is the latest Summersby to embark on a literary career.
I know. Dad would have been stunned by the memoir and the festival. I'm not sure he would have approved, to be honest. He wasn't a big one for fuss.
You must still miss him.
Every day.
Would he have liked the bookshop?
Oh, yeah. He used to moan there wasn't a good one for Miles. It was the least I could do.
With his royalties?
Yes. Well, the books hadn't sold for years, but when he died, there were obituaries and everything. Something of a reappraisal, and Rattigan republished them. Is this about the manuscript?
No. Although, have you seen it?
No. Susie wouldn't let me. She kept it completely under wraps.
So how do you actually know that it exists?
Is it true the manuscript's disappeared?
Seems that way. Who's your money on?
I wouldn't be stood here if I knew. New manuscript. Gone. A masterpiece as well.
How do you know it was a masterpiece? Have you read it?
Oh, I wish. That's all Susie would say about it. She wouldn't let me read it, or anyone else for that matter. But she said it was a total return to form.
How did that make you feel?
Relieved. The last few books have been a bit ropey, to be honest.
I meant Susie Colebrook not letting you read it.
I was furious with her.
You come here to stay with your aunt, right? Is that how you're so familiar with the books?
I knew the family first, and the books came later. I've been coming here since I was a kid. Every summer.
Tell me about Cecily Peterson.
Cess? What's she got to do with anything?
I was hoping you might be able to tell me that. Do you know her well?
We're friends. Why?
Friends from?
She came into the bookshop one day and we got talking.
Just like that, a random meeting?
Yes. What's this about?
Cecily Peterson was found dead this morning.
What? How?
She was electrocuted, as was Susie Colebrook, in a manner identical to the plot of one of your father's books. Did Susie and Cecily know each other?
Not that I know of.
Did you ever go to Cecily's house or send her anything?
No. We chatted on the phone and occasionally met for coffee.
Did she mention any other friends? Anyone she was seeing? A boyfriend? Someone she trusted?
No, she...
Kept herself to herself, we heard. Did your dad ever come up in conversation? Did she say she was a big fan of his work?
Not really. Why, was she?
She had a piece of Susie's artwork from the first Dagger novel.
She never told me that.
Can you think of anyone who might want to kill Susie, over and above wanting to get their hands on the manuscript?
I know she was worried about the publishing deal. There had been rows.
With Miles Rattigan, for not publishing with him?
No, with Niall.
Why would she row with her husband when they were going to publish the manuscript together?
Well, that's just it. Susie wasn't sure. She was thinking about going with Rattigan.
Because?
He did such a good job with the recent reprints.
Against her husband's wishes?
So Niall Colebrook does have a clear motive. And I had a call from forensics. The window in their house was broken from the inside out. The burglary was staged.
So he could have taken the manuscript himself and made it look like it was someone else. We know he benefits from his wife's death, but how's he linked to Cecily Peterson? Why kill her?
Well, his marriage was hardly rock solid. Maybe he was having an affair.
I think you're making a big mistake passing me over. I've got an international fan base. I've got 20,000 followers on Twitter.
There's no accounting for taste, is there? If you're so sorted, what do you need me for?
I think we make a good team, don't you? Come on, you could do with a hit. After all, it's been a while since Dagger was a bestseller. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be again anytime soon.
Is that a fact? Still looking a million.
Oh, a million what? Years? Don't answer that. How was your event?
Oh, don't ask. Whatever happened to the good old days when it was just you, me, and George, hmm?
Well, George got sick of them. You and he fell out, and my marriage hit the buffers. Apart from that.
Thank you.
What do you want, Miles? The manuscript? Or have you got it?
Well, that would be telling, wouldn't it? The art of negotiation is never to reveal the strength of your hand. Tell me, how are you getting on with Bella at the moment?
We get on fine, thank you.
Good. Because in the light of Susie's death, decisions about George's estate and legacy will revert to Bella. And I could benefit from someone looking over her shoulder, as it were.
I'm her mother, Miles. Even you can't expect me to betray that trust.
Oh, I don't know.
Thank you. Captain Birdseye over here says that Mr. Colebrook's boat is along here, Swallow's Wing.
Did he also mention that according to Nick Summersby's memoir, this is where George had his fatal accident?
I suspect they don't want to advertise that. Here.
It's been broken into. Mr. Colebrook? Maybe we're not the only ones looking for him.
Oh, Curtis, lovely. Have to fend for yourself tonight. Oh, come to think of it, how are you getting on with Rob Mead at the moment?
You know full well I can't stand the sight of him.
Yes, I thought so. Then you must come with me later on.
Why?
Well, you might enjoy seeing me bringing the Summersbys to their knees after the way they hurt you.
I don't want to do anything against Bella.
No, not her. Just Rob.
Mr. Colebrook?
Print shop. Mr. Colebrook?
Crush injuries to the chest. Have to wait for the post-mortem to get an idea of internal injuries. On the back of the head, there are lacerations embedded with wood splinters. They don't seem to come from the machine.
Cause of death?
Most likely, he received a blow to the back of the head and was lifted onto the press while still unconscious. He died of traumatic asphyxia from the crushing action of the mechanism.
When?
A couple of hours ago.
Sir, Miles Rattigan's hotel room has been turned over, presumably by someone looking for the manuscript.
Possibly the same person that paid Niall Colebrook's boat a visit before coming here.
So did they kill him because he had it or because he refused to give it up?
The real question is, did they find it? Because if not, they're going to keep looking. We need to talk to Rattigan.
He's checked out the hotel, but I saw him earlier. He'll be at the gallery opening.
Then so will we.
What's that about?
Nothing. Just said we go for a couple of beers.
With Silas?
Yeah? Is that okay?
But you can't stand him.
Ah, he's not that bad.
Really? What's going on?
Nothing's going on. Just fancied a couple of beers, that's all.
Oh, Sykes, I'm a bit busy.
Out like a light, bless her.
How was yoga?
Oh, you know, yoga. You got work to do?
Well, yes, but I wanted to read some more of this, but I have to go to a gallery opening.
All right for some.
Work, obviously.
Obviously. Why don't I read this for you then? What are you looking for?
Oh, it's just background information, really. It's fine, don't worry.
I don't mind.
No, absolutely not. You've got enough of. The last thing I want is to give you more. I'd better go.
Mwah.
I'll speak to Rattigan. Our killer might well be here in this room, Nelson. Circulate. Mr. Rattigan, I believe you had a visitor in your hotel room earlier. Do you have many enemies?
Everyone thinks I'd stop at nothing to get my hands on the new Dagger novel.
And would they be right?
Of course.
But if you did have the manuscript, it would be stolen property. You wouldn't be able to publish it.
Ah, possession is 9/10 of the law, Inspector. That book was mine by rights.
Because?
Because I paid George advances and he gave me nothing. He was burnt out, totally skint. What did he send me? Cigars.
Can I just ask, are the book covers meant to be an ironic postmodernist representation of the role of women in the 60s?
Oh, God, no. George was just horny. He got Susie to illustrate them exactly how he wanted them.
You're quite a fan yourself, aren't you?
George is the reason I came to Luxton in the first place, to research his work. The festival grew out of that.
And when was that?
I came a week after he died.
So you never met George Somersby?
Sadly, no.
You like getting your own way, don't you, Mr. Rattigan? Susie was thinking about giving you the publishing rights. Had she actually made up her mind?
Why do you ask?
Because I can't imagine you being the most patient man in the world.
I'm a businessman. That's not a crime, is it?
No. But killing Mr. Colebrook is. He was murdered this afternoon. And I think the person who killed him is the same person who ransacked your room.
I'll see you in 5.
Any luck?
Not really, no.
Ciao.
Why is he leaving so soon?
Follow him.
Thank you.
We need to talk about the manuscript.
Now is not the time. Tonight's not about money, it's about Susie.
But when it does turn up, it'll be yours to make decisions over. I want to be sure that it's mine to publish, yes? You and your family owe me that.
Bella? Don't ignore me, you'll regret it. You understand that, don't you?
Oh, just back off. You've lived up other people's talent long enough.
Hey! Stop!
can't bail on us now.
No, too hot for me. I'm out. Just you and me, then. And this time I'll have you.
You wish.
Raise. All in.
Goodness.
I could raise you even further if you like.
With what?
The bookshop. Against your cottage.
The bookshop isn't yours to give, it's Bella's too.
My share of the bookshop, then. And what if I tell you I've got the missing dagger manuscripts?
Well, then even I'd know you're bluffing. Someone's got to have it.
Why not me?
Imagine me winning the manuscript. That would really annoy the Summersbys, wouldn't it? And you could have that love.
It's Bella's. Either way, it's worth loads. So, are you in or out?
You're bluffing. You twiddle your fingers when you're nervous. It's a tell. I'll take the bet. Deal.
Rob? What are you doing? What's going on?
Not now, Belle, not now.
Loverboy is about to either win you or lose you a fortune. On their backs, guys. Ace's boss. Looks like you just lost a bookshop.
What?
What about the manuscript?
What indeed?
Rob? I don't have it. I was bluffing.
Then I better have Bella's share of the bookshop as well then, shouldn't I?
What have you done?
Bella.
I don't think that's fair.
It's not about fair.
After everything we've worked for.
On my way.
Get in. So what was Vincent Treeborn up to then?
An illicit poker game with a lot of tension between the Summersbys and Audrey Brailsford.
George Summersby does seem to trigger strong emotions in people, doesn't he? I think we've missed something, Nelson. Someone was driving Cecily Peterson's car and stalking either Bella or Rattigan.
So someone did have the car. Who?
The person she thought sent her the package. The person she rang moments before she died. The person she lived with.
But we didn't see any sign of anyone else living with her.
We weren't looking for them. This is where we found Cecily's photograph. People don't tend to put photographs of themselves on a desk, but of a loved one.
This is someone else's study.
Cecily ran a shop specialising in 60s clothing. The Dagger novels are set in the 60s. George was meticulous in his research. I think they met. George's marriage was on the rocks.
He was in debt.
He had writer's block. What if he started a relationship with Cecily?
This is a writer's room.
Desk, view. Smell anything? A faint whiff of cigar smoke.
And George's vintage typewriter.
George Somersby is alive and well and living in Midsomer.
Everything okay? Betty all right?
Yeah, haven't heard a peep.
So what are you doing?
I couldn't resist.
Sorry, Sykes, it's past my bedtime. Come on, then. What do you make of this memoir?
Well, it's sweet. Childhood summers spent chasing through the woods, skimming stones across the water, teenage years flirting with girls. It's idyllic. It's all a bit too perfect, if you ask me. And then there's a lot of talk about how he came up with the murders.
Any fake deaths mentioned?
Not so far, why?
Because I think our dead crime writer is still alive. According to the memoir, George's brother was at the scene when he died.
Forensics have confirmed that the typewriter is the one used for the messages.
Which makes George Somersby chief suspect in 3 murders.
Why would he murder Susie, a woman he was close to, let alone Cecily, the woman he presumably faked his death for?
I don't know.
It's a good alibi, being 6 foot under.
Dr. Somersby, we need to talk to you.
Why have you brought me here?
To ask you about your brother's accident. I believe you identified his body.
That's right. He was dragged out of the water over there. He was pretty grim. His body was mangled by propellers.
What about his face? How did you know it was George?
Well, it was difficult. He was quite a mess. But you could still make out his clothes, his wedding ring.
What had happened?
We figured that he was trying to fix something and that he'd got caught under the boat before the current dragged him away.
Why were you here?
We were going to go out on the river together, like old times. But when I arrived, the marina staff were already calling emergency services.
Did anyone else see the body?
Yes, Jeannie. She collected his effects from the morgue.
What time of day was this?
Evening. Look, what is all this? Why are you asking?
We have reason to believe that your brother George is still alive.
Is this some kind of joke?
I wish it was. We think that your brother faked his death and has been living with Cecily Peterson in Midsomer Mere ever since.
Only he's not there now, and we need to speak to him in connection with the murders of Susie and Niall Colebrook and Cecily Peterson.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. George is dead. And I'm telling you, I saw him.
Could it possibly have been someone else?
It was George. I'm sure it was.
Even though his face was disfigured? It was getting dark? Did you examine him?
Well, not really. I mainly just identified him. I was upset. Now, hang on. Let me get this straight. You're saying my brother is alive?
Yes, we are.
Where is he?
We don't know. Do you think it's possible that he could have fooled you?
I don't know. He was always a joker, and he was a genius at coming up with murders. But why would he do that? Why would he make me, Bella, Jeannie, think that he was dead? What sort of person would do that?
It's never you, is it, Belle? It's always someone else.
I'm not the one with a gambling problem.
Your father did, though. Didn't seem to mind it in him.
Dad didn't gamble our home or our livelihood, and he didn't lose.
He can do no wrong in your eyes, can he? Sometimes I feel for your mother.
Why?
Because it's hard living in George Somersby's shadow.
Hey! Is that you? Mr. Somersby? You're alive! It's Curtis. Remember? I went out with Bella.
Come to gloat?
I've come to give you a message. From your father.
Do me a favour, Curtis. Hasn't your family wound us up enough recently?
I'm serious. I swear I'm not joking. I've seen him.
What are you talking about?
I didn't believe it either.
Just get out.
He said he can't meet you here. He mentioned the woods where he used to play. He said you'd understand. And he said to give you this. He said you gave it to him on his last birthday.
But my father's dead.
Your father's alive.
George Somersby's death 3 years ago. There must be an autopsy report. We need you to take a look, and we need to know exactly what happened.
What am I looking for?
Proof that the body was George Somersby, and if not, whose was it?
You don't ask for much, do you?
Where would George Somersby go?
Well, he can't be staying in Luxton Deeping or he'd be recognised.
And he can't use a credit card unless he's got a fake one.
He has to be hiding out somewhere.
But where?
He grew up around there, didn't he? So he'd know the area well.
There's a section in here about their childhood. Sarah mentioned something about George and Nick playing endlessly in the woods near the house. Here.
Dad? Dad, is that you? I don't understand. If it's you, please say something.
There's somebody else here.
It's really you.
We have to get out of here.
That's it. Banner Down Woods.
I don't understand. What happened?
Not now, Belle. Keep moving.
Well, where have you been all this time?
Let's get out of here.
need to know. Where have you been?
I was with Cecily.
Cecily? What? Why didn't she say?
I told her not to. She was my way of knowing you were okay.
But why did you go?
I'm sorry. I had to escape.
Escape? You abandoned me for your spy of a mistress. You did that. How could you? I thought you were dead. We buried you.
Look. Not now. Whoever's doing this, it's me they're after. You stay here.
No.
Bella, stay here.
Okay, you finished searching? Yes, we have. You look down.
Deep stab wound just above the collarbone on the left side of the neck.
Indicating?
Well, you see this line of small bruises on his left temple. This was caused by a hand restraining him from behind. Now, given the angle the dagger went in and its positioning, I'd say...
Left-handed.
Exactly.
We haven't found any footprints near the body. How can we be sure anyone else was here? Apart from George Summersby and Bella. What brought you to the woods?
Curtis said he'd seen my father and that I was to come here. It's where we played with Mum when I was small.
And what happened once you were here?
We were chased.
Who by?
I don't know.
Did you see anyone at all? So how do you know you were chased?
Because Dad was panicked. We split up, but I changed my mind and went after him.
What made you go after him?
I didn't want to lose him again.
Did your father say where he'd been for the past 3 years? How did that make you feel? The dagger.
I turned him over and pulled it out.
So you have no idea who did this?
No.
Do you think Bella Summersby's telling the truth?
Possibly, although she must have been angry when she found out what her father had done.
Then the murder weapon. It's another dagger motif. This could still be a crazed fan.
Yes. Bring Curtis Brailsford down to the station. He told Bella to come here, so he knew where George was.
OK, I'll keep you updated. Where are you going?
I'm going to speak to Jeannie Summersby. Someone close to George must have known he was still alive.
Mrs. Summersby.
Inspector, I'm afraid Nick and Maggie aren't here. They've gone to their big event. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about, so I let myself in. I'm not going to buy a copy, am I?
Actually, it's you I want to talk to. I'm sorry to inform you that your husband is dead.
I know. He died 3 years ago.
No, Mrs. Summersby. He died less than 3 hours ago in the woods. I'm afraid he faked his previous death. He's been living in Midsomer Mere ever since.
Who was she? Who was he with?
He was living with a woman called Cecily Peterson. I'm sorry.
Does Bella know?
She was with him when he died. Tell me, this memoir, what do you make of it?
Fiction. Absolute fiction. Maggie's behind every word.
So, she's the power behind the throne, is she?
Absolutely. Always has been. Ever since she first came to the village.
And when was that again?
Just after George's disappearance.
You have 2 messages. Message 1.
Hi, it's Rob. Can you let me know? Is the event still happening? Cheers.
Message 2.
Maggie, Curtis. Yesterday we talked dagger. You referenced 23 murders. It's not. It's 20. I checked.
Of course.
I need to speak to Curtis. Is he in?
I'm not really sure.
It's important.
You should know Curtis doesn't like visitors. He's not the most sociable.
Mr. Brailsford? Mr. Brailsford!
Curtis, there's someone to see you.
D.S. Nelson. Mr. Brailsford, open the door.
It's been ever so hard for him. He's never really got over Bella. He once went out with her, you see. Well, sort of. Didn't really take it ending as well as he might. The family used to make such a fuss, and then when it ended, they all abandoned him.
Curtis!
Unforgivable,
It's about
really.
George Summersby.
Poor boy. Blame George and Jeannie. Assumed they didn't think he was good enough for him.
Mr. Brailsford, open the door.
I should have told him, really. Then all this could have been avoided.
Told him what?
It was nothing to do with the parents. Bella decided to end it.
Curtis, George Summersby was killed this morning. We know you saw him, Curtis.
As I said, Curtis has always been a little one-track. He wouldn't hurt anyone, though. I think.
Curtis! Stop! Where's Bella?
In the office.
Bella!
You ruined my life. Why didn't you tell me when it was your idea to end it?
Kate, go on. Bella, put that down.
Get him out of here.
No.
Why did you send me up there?
I told you. Your dad asked.
Curtis, you need to come with me. Bella, look at me.
Aunt Audrey told me it was you who ended our relationship. No one else.
Bella.
I'm sorry, Curtis. I shouldn't have blamed my parents. I didn't know how to tell you. You were never the one for me.
Could be.
No. I'm sorry.
Nelson, we need everyone out here. Now.
Of course, it wouldn't be my brother without twists and turns. And as some of you know, his latest manuscript has gone missing.
Dr. Summersby, stop. Because the manuscript hasn't really gone missing. Has it, Maggie? You've had it all along, haven't you? That's how you knew that there were 23 murders in the Dagger novels, not 20. In your bag, is it?
It's complicated. Someone claimed the reward.
It's actually rather simple. You used your spare key to Susie's house and then made it look like a burglary.
You did what?
Well, for safekeeping, so this event could happen.
Why didn't you tell me?
I was scared. People were dying.
This isn't just about the manuscript, though, is it? This is about George Summersby. George always won, didn't he? He had the career, the fame and celebrity. He had the big house.
What's your point?
I think that you spent your life in your brother's shadow until he died. And then everything got better. You met Maggie, you wrote your book. Your brother's death was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Nick loved George.
Well, your husband did take quite a risk for his brother, didn't you? Here.
What risk? I don't understand.
Do you remember Mark Sampson? He was a patient of yours, wasn't he? Did he die or did you kill him?
He died of natural causes.
Well, we now know that it was his body you identified as your brother. You helped your brother to fake his death. Not because you loved him, but because you wanted rid of him.
It was perfect. A perfect disappearance.
But he didn't disappear. He stayed nearby and he kept on writing. And then he contacted Susie about a new manuscript. Presumably that was your worst nightmare.
He was alive all this time.
He was going to come back. But why didn't you just kill George in the first place? Why did you kill the two women he was closest to?
I wanted him to suffer. I wanted him to feel pain for once. I wanted him to lose.
But it wasn't enough, was it? Desperate to stop publication, you killed Niall Colebrook. And then you tracked George down and killed him in the woods this morning.
Is this true?
I was not the problem here. George was. You all thought he was so great, didn't you? Well, he wasn't. He was unfaithful. He abandoned his daughter. And he lorded it over me for years. Forever. And for what? For some stupid books. And for this piece of nothing. I hated him. You see, even now, you protect him.
Well, because it matters to me.
What about me? Do I matter?
Of course.
I couldn't have him come back. And it all to start again. He might have taken you away from me. And I couldn't risk that.
Why do you think that would have happened?
Because everyone always wants George. George this, George that. I never stood a chance.
Well, I wouldn't have wanted him. I don't give a damn about this. Any of it.
Sorry about your father. I'm sorry for everything. He may have been wrong to disappear, but he was doing what he thought was best for you, too. You know that, right?
What, by getting me money? I'd rather have spent time with him. I don't care about money.
Me neither.
Technically, this place is yours now, I believe.
There's no technically about it. It is mine. But Bella, you can keep it. It's Rob you need to thank. He came to see me and pleaded with me not to hurt you just because of some stupid mistake.
It's very generous of you.
Not really. You get a lovely view from the moral high ground.
It's a nice trick with the poker chip. Where'd you get that from?
Jed Dagger did it. I read it in the Wheels of Justice.
So you're free then?
Absolutely. So, why don't we go to the park and then I can take us all out for a meal? A bit of quality family time.
Great. Love to.
Me too. Oh.
Or, can I be honest?
Please.
We could just stay in.
Can we?
Why didn't you say?
Why didn't you?
It's exhausting having a baby, isn't it?
Totally. And absolutely wonderful. Come on then.